All right, in this video, I want to talk about speech organization. So, the basic elements of a speech, or the basic elements of the organization of a speech, look like an hourglass. Let me explain that a little bit. So, in the beginning, you have the introduction, then you have main points, and then you have a conclusion. Okay? In the very top of the hourglass, we have our introduction. The main points, that narrow part, is where you distill the issue that you're talking about with us down to a couple key points. Then the bottom part is the mirror image of your introduction. So let's go into each one of those sections. The introduction, the main points, and the conclusion. Okay, in the introduction, you should have a hook. You should have something that right away gets the attention of your audience and wants them to pay attention to what you have to say. And after you do that, after we're paying attention to you, tell us what you're really talking about. Okay, the hook is often a story. What you're really talking about is kind of a statement. Then let us know the couple of things you're going to tell us about in your main points. Okay, so that just went from the very broad thing, the hook, to slightly narrower, the specific thing you're going to tell us about, and to the very narrow, the few key points of that thing that you're going to explain in detail. Okay, so the hook, very broad, why we should care, statement of thesis, specifically the things that we're going to care, the thing we care about. Preview of points is a couple of reasons why we should care. Okay, the main points are broken down into kind of a very linear structure of a main point, saying what that main point is, a subpoint, then another subpoint, then a transition into the next main point, subpoint, and then this assignment that you're doing is a 5-minute long informative speech. It may or may not need a third point. You might be able to get away with just 2 points if you have maybe 3 subpoints in each point. Okay, this is a little bit of a diversion, but if you think about this, a 5-minute informative speech, if you have 3 points, you have a minute for the introduction, which remember you have to cover the hook, the statement of thesis, and the preview of points. That's a lot to do in 1 minute. Then if you have 3 points, you have 1 minute per point, and then a minute to conclude. That's a lot. It's a little bit easier to have about 1.5 minutes per point so that you end up with two main points with about 2 subpoints per main point in a 5-minute informative speech. Okay. Then the conclusion is where this hourglass gets big again. So you restate your 3 points, you remind us of those. Then you restate your thesis, you tell us what it's about again. And then finally you return to the hook. So if that, yeah, you return to the hook. So if it's kind of a story. So let's see. We'll start again with the basic elements. It's kind of an hourglass shape, a mirror image of itself. You have the introduction, which starts with a hook, a statement of thesis, and then a preview of points. The mirror of that is your conclusion, which restates your main points, then restates your thesis, then returns to the hook. And then in the middle, in that narrow part, is the specific information about your statement of thesis that you want to convey to us. All right. So that's kind of the organization. It's an hourglass shape. Have fun with it.